Hello, and welcome to another episode of Women Becoming Their Best here at the Self Help Hub for Women, 40 and beyond. Now, today I've got a young lady in who's going to talk about something I've never even heard of before, something I found really, really inspiring. She's going to talk about how people can work as contractors and how she's going to start teaching people how they can actually learn to work as contractors in the work environment. Now, this one's a big one because I didn't even know you could do this. I knew people worked on contracts, but I didn't know anything about this. But you know what? Let's go over to Toyin and let her tell you exactly what it's about. Let's go over to the interview. Hello, good afternoon, Toyin. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh, hi, Rona. How are you?
I'm not too bad at all. Welcome to the Self Help Hub. I'd just like you to start before you start. Just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am starting a new business, helping women get into contracting. So I'm a contractor myself. I have my own limited company, and that's what I do for my main job. And it's such a lucrative kind of way of working that I do want more women into it. So I've decided to just kind of teach women how to do it because it can be quite scary, and I want women to learn how to do it. So because I do it already, I think it's just a natural path for me to go to, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
sounds great. Could you give me like three main particular areas about contracting? So some of my subscribers want to know a little bit about contracting and what it is. Could you give me about three main areas about contracting?
yeah, so contracting is basically you're a temporary worker. You are your own boss. So you choose where you want to work. You choose your own day rate, which is what they will pay you per day. Now, people get scared of that because they're thinking, oh my God, a day rate. That means I could work from 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock. No, it isn't that. It's just for your presence being there for a day. This is what we would pay you. Sometimes, depending on your job, you might do 1 or 2 hours extra, but I think people who are employees do that anyway, but you get paid more to do it. So a contractor, you're just basically a temporary person, a temporary resource. They can bring you in to help do something like I don't know, I want to build a new website. I need someone who knows how to do that to come in and get it done. We'll provide the resource. Or sometimes they can ask you to provide the resource, but most of the time they have their own resource and you come in and you get the job done. So it's not necessarily a website. It could be we need someone to be a project coordinator, for example, for a different project that we're doing. We just need a temporary resource who can do this job. So contract is really good because it's flexible, you get paid really well, and you own pretty much your career. So
Oh, that
yeah,
sounds fantastic. So you can actually do contracting in almost any area of work.
honestly, you can do contract in almost any area of work. It's pretty much one of those things where the advantage to the company of hiring you is that you're temporary. So they don't have to do things like worry about your pension, they don't have to worry about benefits or any of that sort of stuff. You come in, you do the job and you leave. So you can do contracting in almost anything. I mean, I can't even think of something that you couldn't do contracting in, to be honest with you at this point.
Wow, unbelievable. And
Um,
what actually got you into contracting?
well, that was an accident. I've grown up in this sort of linear way of thinking with, you go to school, you go to college, you go to university, you start your job, you work in it for 40 years, and then you retire. I mean, that's the career path, right? So a lot of my friends take that career path. So I also took that career path, but for some reason it just didn't really work out for me. I was always temping or I was always moving around in different places. Every time I met my friends, I'd be like, where are you working now? That's what they would usually say to me. Whereas I would never ask them that because they were always in the same place. And so I was temping, doing hourly rate stuff, very new into my career. And then I got a maternity contract, right? And this is called a fixed term contract, which is a little bit different to the contracting I'm talking about, even though it uses the same word. It's not as complicated when you're in it, but I can understand it could be confusing. A fixed term contract is usually someone who's covering maternity leave. So, for example, we want someone to come and do I'm a project manager, so I keep using management examples, but we want someone to come and be a project manager for 9 months to cover someone who used to do it, but she's gone on maternity leave, right? So when you come in as a fixed term contractor, we will give you the benefits, you'll get time off, you get the bonus if you're there long enough, you'll get the benefits, all the things you would normally get as an employee, but only for a fixed amount of time. So I came into a company called Direct Line. I was there for a year as a fixed term contract person. And all around me, were all these contractors, you know, day rate contractors. And I was like, oh, so what's this about then? What's this day rate contractor malarkey? You know, and I would hear one of them say something like, oh, do you know what? I'll just buy a mobile phone and I'll buy it through the company. I might just buy a house through the company. And I was just like, whoa, what's all this? You know, you could just say these sorts of things. So that's kind of how I learned about contracting. But even before that, I heard about contracting because when I was doing my master's degree, I was working in an accountancy agency and I was doing payroll for contractors, and I was seeing what they were getting. I was like, £300 a day. Oh my God, that's like amazing, you know. So I started to learn about it and I just went online, started to look up things. I had no support because I didn't know anyone who was contracting other than people who were at that workplace, and they will give you pointers, but they weren't there to support you. They'll just be like, oh, you can do this and you can do that. You're like, but what does that mean, you know? So I just researched into it and then I looked online and I saw some contracts and I thought, let me just go for it. I was like, but I can't be a business owner because being a business owner means I need assets and it means, I need property and I need to pay rent and, you know, all these things that you think of when you're a business owner. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I can't do that. But then I just took a leap. I just said, okay, fine. I'll take a contract came my way. I didn't want it because I was thinking, I'm not doing this. I'm going to go back to fixed term contracts or temping. I'm not doing it. But then they kept coming back to me and I was like, oh, fine, I'll do it. So I did it. And oh, it was so much, honestly, it's just changed my life. It's just completely changed my life. It's a completely different way of looking at things. It's the perfect in between being a business owner that owns a shop and all that sort of stuff and being an employee is the perfect in between because you don't have all those costs that you would as a proper independent business owner. Even though you are an independent business owner, there's more guarantee that you're going to get profit before you incur too much costs. So yeah, it's great. It's great.
And if you had to sum up the three major advantages of being a contractor, what would you say they are?
I think for me, the three major advantages for me is the flexibility. For me, it was the freedom. I just needed freedom. People would, when you're a contractor, depending on the type of contract you do, you come in, usually what they would do is you're the expert, right? So you've come in, this is what we want you to do. And usually you get left to it. Yeah, you might have to meet up once a week to let the client know how you're getting on. But they're not sitting here saying, can you look at this task? No one's telling you that because you've already got what you need. So it's a bit like a plumber. A plumber, you say, my sink is broken, plumber comes and fixes it. You're not going to be like, let's have a meet. You know, you're not going to tell them, use this how to use. Exactly. You're going to let them get on with it, right? Yeah, because they're the expert. You go ahead and fix it. Just make sure it's done. So the freedom, a lot of people will say the money is good. You will, as a contractor, end up having a lot of money and you can easily get in trouble with that as well. So that's why I want to teach people about that, to just some of the pitfalls to look out for. Money is good. But I think for me is the ability to kind of work in different areas with different companies. I've worked in a lot of different places. I've met a lot of different people. And just learning, you can learn on the job, right? For free, because you're in these different places and you're going to learn no matter what. So yeah, for me, it's that. But I guess that's kind of four things, you know. So, but it's just
fantastic. Fantastic. Toyin, thank you so much for coming in today, and thank you for all your guidance on contracting. Because you know what, I don't know much about it myself, so I'm actually learning a thing or two myself. I will say if my subscribers want to get in contact with you, where could they get in contact? Have you got any social media details or anything like that they can get in contact with you?
Yeah, I think if people want to get in contact with me, I think the best thing is to probably just send me an email and I can get them on in that way, because I think because I'm setting up my business, I want to get all this done properly and then get people to join that way as well. So maybe we'll do this interview again in a few months and then
well, I'll tell you what, your email details will be in the description box below.
Oh, okay, fine. So fine. Yeah, contact me through there if you want to know anything.
Okay. Thank you very much, Toyin.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you.
Wow. I knew nothing about being a contractor and working that way. I didn't even know that existed. And you know, when you think about it, there are so many contractors out there that we actually know of. People who are TV presenters are on contracts as such. They have a contract. You know, basketball players are on a contract. Football players are on a contract. I mean, it's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing to see that people can work that way. And when she's going to be teaching it, particularly to women. I mean, come on, let's go. Anyway, thank you very much. Her details are going to be in the description box below. And I'll see you on the next episode, because it ain't selfish to take care of yourself. Bye for now.